Overthinking about mistakes, feeling too nervous before a game, feeling like you're not using your full potential when constantly worried about what others are going to say about you. If you relate to those things, you are not alone. This is the most common performance blocker that I see in a lot of athletes that I speak to. Worrying about what others think of you. This will block you, this will stop you from achieving your highest potential. In this video, I'll give you the strategy, the explanation, and neuroscience behind this process that makes so many athletes to not become the athletes that they are supposed to be if they're able to overcome this. So stick with me in this video. I'll walk you through all steps that you can take to achieve the level of confidence, flow states, good performances, and ultimately achieving your goals. If you don't know me, my name is Gabriel Zieno. I'm a mental performance coach working with elite athletes. And if you have noticed that I haven't been posting videos in the past week, in the past 2 months, it was because I was traveling, visiting some clients, mostly in England. But today I'm back to YouTube, I'm back to recording videos, and I'll walk you through these steps so you can achieve your best potential. So let's get started with this video. The main difference between when you focus on what you don't control and when you focus on what you can control, biologically, is that your cells, your body, is made of multiple cells. The behavior that we have is a consequence of the interaction that happens between those cells in our body. So it is not simply just focus more on what I can control or focus more on what I cannot control. In a biological level, we are trained to repeat the same patterns over and over again. And that is why you struggle so much in caring about what others think of you, even though you know that you shouldn't. You know that you should focus more and praise yourself more for the things that you can actually control. But despite knowing that, it is extremely hard to get to the level of not caring about it or just leaving it away, the things that you cannot control. And what happens when you are in that state, when you were, because of multiple reasons, because of multiple factors, you got to the point of your cells, of your body, repeating the patterns of thinking and worrying about what others think, the consequences of that are you enter a level of survival. You enter fight or flight. Your jaw gets harder. You feel some butterflies in your stomach. You feel your legs getting heavier. Your heartbeat goes faster. All of those things happen because on a biological level, you are seeking for survival. You are trying to fight some problems that you might face. All of this, what happens is that increases cortisol level. In cortisol level, it is the opposite of being in the zone of flow. Cortisol level has multiple negative effects for your life, not just as an athlete, but as an athlete, it will make it a lot harder for you to maintain your discipline, to maintain your motivation, to maintain your enjoyment, and your ability to enter the zone of flow. And if this cocktail of emotions, this cocktail of hormones are going through your body consistently, you are not going to be able to perform your best because it is impossible. It is not luck or it is not something out of that happens by chance. The Cristiano Ronaldo, the Kobe Bryant, the Messi, the Neymar, that all those top athletes, they can perform when it matters most. It is not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence that they got to that level. It is because of something that happens in their body, in their brains, that allows them to perform consistently, perform so well consistently. And this is the opposite of that. When you enter this level of survival, it is a lot harder to get to the level of performance because you start overthinking, you start feeling stressed, you start feeling too nervous, and you are not able to use your full potential. You start making choices for acceptance, so you decide to pass the ball back. You decide to not take a risk. You decide to not take a penalty. You decide to not ask for the ball. All of those things are choices to keep yourself safe. Remember, you're in a level of survival. You're not playing for freedom, for enjoyment, for expressing yourself. You're playing for survival, for keeping yourself safe. And when you are in that space, it is a lot harder to use your full potential. Not to say impossible. You have more muscle potential, stress hormones, and fatigue. Despite all of this, all of those things that is a lot harder to perform, you are still gonna feel more fatigue after the game because all of those hormones that are going through your body, they're making you to feel too tense, too stiff. your muscles are going to be more tired. Hormonally, you are more stressed. And not only you're not going to perform better than your opponents, but you're going to feel more tired than your opponents and teammates who are in this side. The athletes that focus on the things that they can control. The athletes that are focused on becoming the best that they can be. Those athletes, they are able to maintain their focus. If they don't have to be worried about protecting themselves, about what others are going to think about them, about survival, about making choices for acceptance, they're not worried about all of this, they can maintain their focus on the game, on the ball, on the next play, on recognizing the patterns that are happening in the game. And this will allow them to use their skills. So take these two examples here. These two different athletes. If this athlete works a lot harder every single day, go to the gym, eat rice, sleep 8 hours, do everything correctly, and this athlete only does 60 to 70% of that, this athlete is much better. Because this athlete is able to execute when it matters. In a game, in a trial, this athlete is able to perform because his brain, his cells, his neurons are connected in a way that allows him to focus, to be in the moment, to relax, to enjoy, to be creative. While this athlete, despite having all of the skills, besides being stronger, faster, better prepared, his body, his brain is focused on survival, is focused on acceptance, is focused on keeping myself safe. And when you enter that zone of protecting yourself, of fearing things that can happen in the game, you don't perform. This athlete is able to maintain focus, takes on information more easily, so he learns things throughout the game. He has more creativity and more enjoyment. So if you feel like that's you, if you identify with this kind of athlete in any of the examples that I gave, stress, lack of creativity, underperforming, comparing to others, worry about what others think, avoiding mistakes, playing too safe, all of those things, if any of them you relate to, it is just a matter of working on them. Because all that it takes, as I said, is changing the connections in the brain. If you're able to create better connections, this will be the natural outcome. You don't have to force yourself to be confident. You don't need to think about, I must be confident. I must show how good I am. I must behave in this specific way. You don't have to do that. It is natural. It comes as a consequence because you're training the connections in your brain. And the best way to do that, mental preparation. If you're training your brain to create these connections, you are going to perform much better. This is the definition of mental preparation. You are strengthening more positive connections in your brain that will allow you to perform much better. And today, in football, in any sport, the athletes who stand out are the athletes who are mentally prepared. Because in terms of physical, tactical, and technical, everyone is getting very similar. If you're watching the Euros right now, you are noticing that the scores of the games are most of the time 1 or 2 goals advantage maximum. I cannot remember more than 3 games that the scores were more than 3 goals difference. And that is because the levels are very similar. It is thin margins that are able to differentiate athletes. And this is the one thing that makes athletes to succeed. The best athletes in the world say that they are the best, that they are so good because of their mental side. Cristiano, Bellingham, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, all of those guys say the same thing. Okay, so one thing that happens, last part of the explanation, then we go into the work. One thing that makes this happen is that athletes develop a performance-based identity. So you enter this level of survival because you identify yourself as the athlete that you are and nothing else. If you're only a player, if you're only an athlete and you don't perform, it means that you are not good enough. You have no value. So if I get to that level of understanding of myself, I will try to avoid all of those things all the time. This is a topic for another video that I can break down with these in more details. This is one of the most important things that I work with the athletes that I work with one-on-one, to create an identity, to understand who they are, to break down all of those conceptions that make it too hard for them to express themselves on the game, on the match, on the pitch. And the better you are able to understand this, the better that you are able to create a process that becomes more effective, more functional for you to enter the zone of flow, because you have a better identity, because you have better connections, because your brain works in a different way, then it's easy. Then you did all the work. The game becomes a situation for you to enjoy and not to fear anymore. Okay, so how do we do that? So we have a trigger, which is a game, a competition, a possible title, a possible goal, a possible good outcome. But at the same time, whenever we have a good outcome, we have the potential of having a bad outcome, a negative outcome. So if you're going to play a final, it will be great if you win, but what if you lose? And a lot of athletes try to convince themselves that I'm going to win. I have to believe that I'm going to win, and try to block all the negative thoughts, all the doubts that could be very helpful for you. Mental toughness is not the absence of weak or negative emotions. Mental toughness is the ability to navigate those and still being able to do the thing that you know how to do, which is, in your case as an athlete, to perform, to play football, to play basketball, whatever sport you play. This is the definition of mental toughness. So what we want to understand is understand the triggers that create those conceptions for me. Is it just the fact that I'm gonna play a game? Is it a specific game? Is it people criticizing me? What is the trigger? What makes me to enter this state of stress, of fear, of doubts? What is it? And then we can apply mental training tools, mental training techniques. The more that you understand yourself and the things that could happen to you during the game or before the game, you can start to understand, okay, I'm likely to have that kind of behavior because of my belief of unlovability. And because I think that other people don't think that I'm good enough, I try to compensate that by getting the acceptance of other people. And I try to do that by asking questions, by paying attention to what they're saying, or just being worried about all the cues that I can get from the environment about what people are saying about me. Okay, if this is likely to happen, what mental training tool could I use to overcome this process? In this specific example, I could use, for example, relaxation techniques just before I face that. Just before the game starts, I can use some breathing technique to relax myself. The day before of the game, I could use hypnosis to try to get myself into a deeper understanding of what is my role under that scenario, to block criticism. So hypnosis is a process pretty much like a guided visualization that you're going to prepare yourself to face that specific challenge, that specific stressful event, so you're better prepared to face it. Many athletes used to use this. Michael Jordan used to use this a lot. And the more you are able to understand this, what happens? What is the trigger? What is my response? Okay, so now I can have a plan of mental training tools to allow myself to go to that side, to have a brain that is strong enough, that is mentally tough to deal with the challenges so I can succeed in that scenario. And that is why I said, today the best players are the ones that are on that side, that have a mentally strong, that are mentally strong, and you can develop those things daily. On this example, other training tools that I could use goal setting, just focus on myself. Not focus about scoring, not focus about a title, just focus on creating process goals, things that are 100% under my control that I want to execute during the game. I can create a pre-game routine that allows me to enter that zone. Throughout the week, I could do my mental training routine to build a belief that I should only focus on what I can control, on my values, on exercising my values daily. All of those things, all of these examples that I mentioned, the hypnosis, relaxation, pre-game routine, strengthening your beliefs, all of those things that are creating more positive connections. This is the only way you're going to be able to use your full potential. If you get to the game thinking, I must be confident, I must not worry about mistakes, it doesn't matter what others are saying, it is not going to work because you have that strong connection in your brain. When you are under stress, so moments before the game, your rationality drops dramatically because you become more emotional. You are about to face something that you care about. Now you're trying to repeat something to yourself that emotionally has no impact to a strong connection that you have in your brain. And imagine this is the connection. And you're telling your brain, don't worry about what they think about you. It doesn't change the connection at all, at all. It is still the same connection, as strong as it was before, and the fact that you are having this trigger. Do not think about what they say about you. This trigger of just reminding yourself, this is a situation that people are judging me, with the strong belief that you have that it is important to think about, it is important to care about what I think. You are triggering your body to enter these states because you are sending a key, you are sending a trigger that may remind your body that they are judging me. So I must enter this biological state. And when you enter that state, it is a lot harder to get out of it because it is stressful, it is a situation that is uncomfortable for you, it is a situation that in the past you will struggle a lot. There's no way out of that. During the situation, it is extremely harder to deal with it than if you prepare for it before. Just like an injury. If you prepare yourself to not get injured, you are much more likely to not get injured. Then, after you got injured, you have to do all the work to get back. It is impossible to get injured and just push through. You can do that for a game, but they're going to be out for much longer. This is the same idea. You want to prepare your brain to be able to face those scenarios so you're able to succeed and enter that state naturally, because you're putting in the work daily that allows you to go into that state. That's it for this video. And if you want to take the step to work on your mental game, to really understand step by step the methodology that I use with high-level athletes that helps them to overcome the highest amount of pressure that an athlete can imagine. Going on TV, playing in front of thousands of people, on social media, all of those things. If you want to have access to the same methodology, I highly recommend that you click the description of the video and join us in the Athlete Mentality Academy. I created a full methodology to allow you to develop all skills that a high-level athlete possess. This is going to help you to overcome any mental blocks that you might have. The lack of confidence, worrying about what others think, lack of motivation, discipline, all of that. If you're a serious athlete looking to improve your mental game, highly recommend that you check out this link, that you subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you in the next video.